Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Bottoms Up, Fins Up, proudly a part of the incredible team at the Fins Talk Sports Network. Gotta be honest, we scheduled episode 29 last week with boss Bobby. Did not anticipate tonight. I should have anticipated, but did not know that tonight would be NBA Finals Game 1. Because I am not a Heat fan, us being based down in Houston, Texas. We are Rockets fans, but we give all of our luck to the Heat tonight. But we do have a lot of Dolphins news. There's Pops. Pops, welcome.
What's up, Mimby?
Well, we got a fantastic show tonight, I would say. A lot of Dolphins news going around. I have some semi-breaking news that I want to touch on regarding DeAndre Hopkins. We have quotes from Mike McSwaggy McDaniel. I've got my four positions, I should say, to watch for training camp. A lot of good stuff going on tonight. Tomorrow, we celebrate $13 million in cap space. What does that mean for the Miami Dolphins? What does that mean for Connor Williams? What does that mean for Zach Sealer? What does that mean for Christian Wilkins? So we got a lot of stuff to get to tonight. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see. You look good. You look halfway decent.
Which half?
Well, not the better half. There was a video tonight that just got published, I would say about an hour and a half ago, or at least I saw it an hour and a half ago. I don't know if you're aware, Travis Kelce and his brother, who plays for Philadelphia, they do a podcast together. It's pretty great. What's his brother's name? Oh, God. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Jason. That's who it is. Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce. Jason Kelce, who plays for Philadelphia, asked his brother Travis where DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up. The two teams that he gave, ironically, both in the AFC East. One is the Miami Dolphins. The second is the Buffalo Bills. Your thought on a potential move for DeAndre Hopkins to go to the Miami Dolphins?
That would be crazy. That would just be...
Would you like it? Would you like the move?
Yes, I would love the move.
So let me ask you a question. If they signed him and it ended up costing you Zach Sealer, would you be okay with it? Because I don't think you're going to be able to. Okay. Interesting. Who would you rather add to this roster, Hopkins or Dalvin Cook?
Wow.
You can only choose one.
I'd say Cook.
Really? Interesting. See, it's interesting. The fact that he named the Dolphins in this DeAndre Hopkins, he's not the only one. Rob Ninkovich, who I hate, who works for ESPN, he used to play for the Patriots, he named the Dolphins as the team that he thinks that DeAndre Hopkins is going to. I'm seeing him rumored coming back to Houston. I don't get the Miami connection, but I'm not against it at all. I would love the DeAndre Hopkins move. Are you kidding me?
Why?
Why would I love it? Because you're in the AFC, dude. You're in an arms race. I mean, it's all about, look, you need defense. Don't get me wrong. And I think the Dolphins have done an admirable job of adding to the defensive side of the ball this offseason. Most notably, David Long Jr. from Tennessee, Vic Fangio, and Jalen Ramsey. Offensively, honestly, what have they added to the offense from last year? And they were a very good offense last year, sixth in the NFL. But what have they added outside of Devon Achane, right? Drafted Achane out of A&M. You added Braxton Berrios. I like Braxton Berrios. I like Chosen Anderson, but I would love DeAndre Hopkins.
That wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be fair if you lined all three of them up. That's crazy.
But, look, he's going to be expensive. Do I think he's going to end up being a Dolphin? No. I just wanted to get your take on it. It doesn't make any sense for him to come to Miami. Why? To be even if he's at his best, he's not the best wide receiver on this team. That's Tyreek Hill. Arguably, Jalen Waddle is going to be as productive, if not more productive, than what Hopkins is going to give you.
Yeah, but can you imagine
No.
someone's getting single teamed?
And it's going to be filthy. Honestly, I think there's a lot of smoke with DeAndre Hopkins coming back to Houston. I think he's going to be a Texan. That's my guess. He's got family here. He's got family here. He's got a connection. Look, either here, I think a team that nobody's talking about for DeAndre Hopkins is Cleveland. Cleveland Browns make a lot of sense for DeAndre Hopkins to reunite with Deshaun Watson. I mean, if you're him, why would you not want to do that?
Well, he'd be the star in Cleveland. He'd be number one receiver there.
Well, you got him and you got Amari Cooper as well. I mean, I think you'd have a nice little 1-2 punch for Deshaun Watson. Let's talk about the fact tomorrow Dolphins get $13 million in cap space. There was, in the first two OTAs, two notable missing participants, two guys that are signed under contract for next year, but both guys want extensions. Center, your boy, Hook'em Horns, Connor Williams, and Zach Sealer. Those are two guys. They could get even more cap space if they take Connor Williams' $7 million next year that he's supposed to make and extend him out, give him a 2 or 3 year extension. Your thoughts on a potential extension for Connor Williams, Zach Sealer, and the obvious name is Christian Wilkins. Where do you think we land with those three guys and getting an extension done?
Well, this tonight.
Do what? You keep breaking up on me.
Oh. Continue on. Let me try to.
Okay. All right. Well, Pops has got some connectivity issues, unfortunately, but I will continue it from here until we can get him back. We'd love to get him back as soon as possible. Look, to follow up on what we were just talking about, $13.1 million in cap space for the Miami Dolphins. What does that mean moving forward? Again, Connor Williams, you've got Zach Sealer, who needs a new contract, and you've got Christian Wilkins. I think the most important guy that the Dolphins need to get done at this point is Christian Wilkins, backbone of your defense. And if you were to lose, hello, friend.
How's that better?
A little bit better, yeah.
I still look good, though, right?
Oh, you still look great. No, but what we were just talking about was, I think the most important guy, more important than DeAndre Hopkins, more important than Dalvin Cook, the Miami Dolphins have got to get this deal with Christian Wilkins done. It is number one to get this deal done with this guy.
And I think it is going to get done, because if not, I saw videos of him in training camp and the OTAs. He was having a good time. He's like he's in shape. I think it's going to get done. And I'll tell you, besides Connor Williams redoing his deal, one guy they haven't gone to yet is X. X is sitting on a lot of cash right now. And I saw the Dolphins in the past, guys like Marino and Clayton and Duper, those guys would extend. They want to win, and I think if they waive Cedric Wilson, I think there's another $2 to $3 million right there.
Well, I wouldn't waive him. I try to trade him, even if you could get a 5th or 6th round draft pick. But I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm ready to go down that road yet, simply because outside of your two main guys, right, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you got a lot of questions. Outside of those two guys, I don't think Eazy-E is ready for the number 3 spot. I think Chosen Anderson was a good pickup, but I think he's questionable depth behind those two guys.
I think Berrios is your number 3 guy.
I see, and if Braxton Berrios is your number 3 wide receiver, you're in trouble. I like Braxton Berrios a lot, but you see why you were able to get him for the deal that you were able to get him for. He's a nice return guy. He's a nice possession receiver. But if he's your number 3, you're in trouble.
How many teams have 3 great receivers?
Okay, there's not a lot.
That's none.
I got to think. But it also depends on your quarterback. I mean, the Chiefs don't have 3 great wide receivers, but they have the best quarterback in the game. And he helps make up for that in a league.
But they have the best. Okay, they got the best tight end in the game, so that counts as a receiver. They got
Nicole Hardman. They got some guys. They got some dudes on their team. There's no doubt. But you're talking about Patrick Mahomes. The Dolphins don't have Patrick Mahomes. Respectfully,
I hear you. And it used to be like with Brady. They'd bring in nice role guys, Wes Welker, Edelman,
Jew, by the way,
Amendola.
Listen,
they bring in guys like that, and you're right. Brady made them great players. There's no question about it. This Hopkins things, I mean, it picked up from somewhere. I mean, I heard today on the radio that Hopkins is here in town, and his family's here, his mom's here, and it's like this Harden thing, it just won't go away.
Well,
does he want to come here? I mean, does he not have better opportunities elsewhere?
It's all about money, and I don't blame him for that. If the Texans are going to give him a massive deal, which they should, you want to talk about a great security blanket for their new shiny quarterback, CJ Stroud. You're not going to get much better than DeAndre Hopkins. For Hopkins is going to have his choice of teams. But the question is, Buffalo and Kansas City have very little cash right now. They're tapped. Great general managers figure out a way, though. They will figure out a way to make it work for him and make other guys restructure. It's going to be all about, for Hopkins, where, what is the best situation for him? Does he want to win a Super Bowl? If he does, he's going to probably go to Kansas City or Buffalo. I got
what he's trying to say is, well, there I go now. Hello.
Yeah, you keep cutting in and out, but you're okay.
How do you?
But the thing is, it's all about, go to Baltimore, go play with Lamar Jackson and Odell Beckham Jr. They've got, they can make a pretty good situation for him.
Is it about the money, or at this point of his career, does he want to win?
Well, I mean, there's a couple teams, good GMs can figure out a way. Just like, look, the Dolphins, does he end up in Miami? God, I hope so. Because you want to talk about an offense that's going to be hard to stop, but they got to shore up the offensive line. And that's why it's not money well spent on DeAndre Hopkins. I'll say that. I mean, signing him, it just doesn't make sense to me, especially what you've already added.
Is there a way to bring him and Cook on?
No.
Not at all.
No. I mean, there is. I mean, if you adjust your roster accordingly, but look, they got to shore up. Connor Williams is important. People don't talk about Connor Williams enough. His move from guard to center last year and how seamless he made that move and how important he is to that offensive line, especially with, Teron Armstead and, can he stay healthy? I loved how he came out and he's like, my intention is to play this full season. I'm like, yeah, I would hope so, fam. If we're paying you $19 million this year, like my hope would be that you play the entire season.
What is Connor Williams' contract situation this year?
He's making $7 million. They signed him to a 2-year,
$14 million.
2-year, $14 million, something 12 to $14 million. I don't remember the exact figure, but Omar Kelly made a good point that you create some more cap space by extending him out. Instead of 1 year at $7 million, you do, 3 years at, $15 million, like something like that. That's what I think he's worth. I think they're going to get that deal done. I think they're going to get Christian Wilkins done. I don't think they're going to sign Zach Sealer. I think this is Zach Sealer's last year as a Miami Dolphin. Unfortunately, a very good player. That's my guy. He came to training camp in an RV, a couple of years ago. I mean, the guy just works his tail off, but you only have so much money. And another thing about what the Dolphins are going through right now is, literally a third of their roster, they're entering their last year on their contract. The Dolphins are all in going into this next season.
Well, they need to be. They need to be.
No, 100%. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know you fans don't want to hear this, but after this season, if this season does not go well, which there's always that chance that it will, the Dolphins are actually in a pretty decent spot to hit the reset button pretty quick. You could move on from Tua after this year. You could move on from a lot of these guys after this year. They're in a very interesting spot, especially at the running back position. There's already talks that Buffalo's interested in Dalvin Cook along with the Dolphins. The Dolphins are big game hunting right now.
Well, but what I read is Cook is interested in, he said, 2 places I'd like to go. Either to Miami, go back home to Miami, or go play with my brother in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, Dalvin Cook makes a lot of sense for this team in a lot of ways. It also doesn't make a lot of sense in very many other ways. You know how many running backs they have on this roster? And not just dudes, right? You just drafted A-Chain. Now, if you want to bring him along slowly, that's fine. But if you bring in Dalvin Cook, you're putting him next to Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson already. You have 3 legitimate dudes before Dalvin Cook that you could argue should be getting some decent touches next year. It's a lot of mouths.
We saw at the end of the year when Mostert got hurt and Wilson got hurt. And I think if you bring on Cook, I think that you probably cut Gaskin.
Well, he's got and Selvin Ahmad. I mean, you can get rid of both of those.
Yeah, but I like Ahmad. Every time I've seen him play, I've liked him.
But that's the thing is, if you bring on Dalvin Cook, you need proven entities in that backfield. And look, if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm all in on Dalvin Cook. Now, it depends on money. It depends on how much money this dude wants in order to come to Miami. But I would bring him home on a team-friendly type deal. I'd give him 2 years, $8 million, somewhere around that number.
Well, it depends. How much is? I guess it's a difference of, do you trade for him, or if Minnesota cuts him, how much of that do they pay?
I don't know. There's figures out there. Would I trade for him? As long as they're eating a majority of the contract, I would trade for him. I'd give a 5th or a 6th round pick to guarantee it, because if he hits free agency, you don't know. Now, I love what McDaniel said yesterday in his presser, saying that the Dolphins intend on making good use of this $13.1 million. Well, I would hope so, McDaniel. But look, I think the Dolphins are in a really good spot. I think that they're going to have to find some more money for Christian Wilkins too, because Wilkins, again, is the number one thing that they've got to get done in this round of free agency. And this is almost found money at this point.
Well, it's found money, but you gotta divvy it out. What kind of deal do you think they're looking at for him?
For who, Wilkins?
Yeah,
you got to go after you got to go off of what Tennessee just gave Jeffrey Simmons. 4 years, $90 million, wow, with about $70 million guaranteed. I mean, if you want to hold on to him, that's what it's going to take. Now, the other side of this coin that I don't think they're going to go down is you don't sign Christian Wilkins and you go with a guy like Zach Sealer, who's not going to cost that much money, and you can allocate those funds to other positions of need. You look at the offensive line. Could you go out and go get another piece inevitably this next offseason to help your offensive line? You also are going to have to talk about an extension for a guy like Robert Hunt. That I think Robert Hunt has earned himself an extension, not this offseason, but next offseason. You got to be thinking a year or two down the road. I think they're going to sign Christian Wilkins. I think a deal gets done. But there's going to be ramifications to that deal getting done. There are going to be guys this team is not going to be able to afford because of that deal that they give Christian Wilkins. You also talking about an extension that's going to be needed in 2 seasons for Jalen Waddle, because I think you're going to want to make Waddle a Dolphin for
Yeah.
extended period of time. That's another guy.
Got it.
You know what I mean? That's the type of deal that, unless Wilkins wants to take a little bit less, where the Dolphins want to do, maybe something like a 4-year, $60 million deal, but they guarantee the entirety of the deal. I could see that. I could see that type of deal getting done.
I still think they need to go back, because let's look at who's redone their deals already. Baker, Chubb, Hill,
and it's, again, another shout out goes out to Stephen Ross. The only way those deals get done is you got to pony up a lot of cash to turn into a signing bonus to convince those guys to do that deal.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are not at the spot that they're at now without Stephen Ross.
Well, he's also put him in a pickle at some point too. But do
you like Stephen Ross as the owner? Are you
No.
a Stephen Ross guy? I
No.
like him.
No.
Interesting.
I don't like his political flauntings. No, I don't like him. But
Okay.
you know what? I don't care if you give me a trophy. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah, that's my point. That's why I like Stephen Ross, because he hasn't always thrown out smart money to guys. Mike Wallace,
Brandon Marshall,
Ndamukong
Suh.
Well, Sue was a stupid deal, but Sue was a heck of a football player, But the point is that he's always willing to spend the money, and you got to give your owner credit for that. I give him credit for that. You don't have to like the guy, and he hasn't been able to get it done. But I give him credit for this version of the Dolphins team, that he's not just taking this $13.1 million and going to sit on it. He's going to look out to improve the team. So if I had to make a guess, that they're going to get an extension done with Williams, with Wilkins. Those are the 2 guys I think they lock up. I don't think they lock up Sealer. My guess is that they're going to end up trading Cedric Wilson, and they're going to end up signing Dalvin Cook. And then I think you're going to be about set for this roster.
What about the punter?
I mean, the punter is important. It's not an end-all, be-all for me.
No, but what do you think about that guy that Buffalo got rid of?
I think he's going to end up going to the Jets.
Wouldn't it be? No, they didn't sign him.
Well, they haven't signed him. That's where I think he inevitably ends up. I think he's fine. I think how he got treated in Buffalo with the whole legal situation, I think, was hot dog water. I think it was awful the way he got accused of something. He wasn't even in the house, so I'll leave it there with that situation. Do I think the Dolphins should make a run at him? Sure. I'm not a punter guy. Like Jason Sanders, you don't like Jason Sanders. I think the field goal kicker is a lot more important than the punter. But the Dolphins already signed the guy from who? The Jets? They already got a punter. He's fine. I mean, you can find a punter.
I'd rather stick it to Buffalo than the Jets.
If both of those teams are playing, I root for a tie in injuries. So,
there you go.
To get to last thing for tonight, exciting news. Miami Dolphins are going to be having a joint practice, and they're coming here to Houston for the preseason games.
Nice.
Our preseason game, joint practices. It's going to be preseason week number 2. Some good quotes from McDaniel. He's excited to get here and do live, hitting against other guys. That's going to be interesting because you and I are both big sports radio guys here in Houston. I love getting that perspective from different markets and how those sports media figures look at a team like the Dolphins, because they usually don't, know their head from their ass when they're talking about other teams, because they just don't follow it. Oh, hopefully Tua could stay healthy for the entire year. Yeah, if he didn't get hit illegally in the Cincinnati game, he probably would have been healthy for nearly the entire year. But that's exciting. Dolphins coming to the city of Houston.
I'll be excited to go to that game with you.
We're going to go. And they were even talking about it today. It's going to be good work for the Dolphins or for the Texans to go up against, you know, defensively. You're talking about going up against Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, Javon Holland, who I think is going to be an all-pro in the next 2 years. I think Javon Holland can be that good. Defensive line, Emmanuel Ogbah, Jalen Phillips, Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, David Long. Offensively, Jalen Waddle, Devon A-Chain, Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's Dolphins. The Dolphins are. It's going to be a special year.
I think the kid from Tech is ready.
Easy E, we'll see. I'm not as convinced on that yet. But do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up and go watch the NBA Finals tonight?
I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Just to see, because I think there's going to be some things that happen tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a good day.
Is it today? Is it tomorrow midnight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, because it's post June 1st cuts. So I believe it goes down at midnight tonight. I think Dalvin Cook is going to be a Dolphin. We do a show every 2 weeks in the offseason. I would say 100%. 2 weeks from tonight, Dalvin Cook will be a Dolphin.
So do I look forward to you texting me tonight at 1 a.m.?
No, I will be asleep. I will be zonked out.
All right.
But good show tonight. I mean, we didn't have a big crowd tonight, obviously. NBA Finals tonight. But always enjoy doing shows with you, Pops. It's always a good time, especially with technology.
And, I think as we start getting back into football season, I always hate to admit it when, your mother, my wife, is right. But, we need to start putting the word out on a bunch of these different sites to at least get people to come in and at least try us one time,
We will absolutely do so. If you're on Twitter, make sure to give the Fins Talk Sports Network a follow at Fins Talk Network. Follow me on Twitter at MikeBrown_2020. You can follow Pops on Facebook. Just search Lewis Brown and look for the profile that doesn't have a profile picture. Go Heat, my pick, Heat in 6. Not off to a great start, but the series is long. Jimmy Buckets. I'm rooting for the Heat. Go Heat. Screw the Nuggets. I do like the Nuggets, though. Big Mike Malone guy. Love Jokic. Love that roster. Jamal Murray. Denver stuff. Your NBA Finals pick is what?
Denver in 6.
Ooh, Denver in 6. I got Miami in 6. Looks like it's halftime, so we'll go get ready for the second half. And until next time, Dolphins fans, fins up.
Fins up, baby. Thank you, Michael.